Hello and welcome to another edition of Sun Dragon Tips and Tricks. I'm Rebecca. I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in Brevard, North Carolina. It's Monday, so I'm at my house. There's my cat. And I'm going to continue our videos on the Brioche Bandana Cowl. These are also videos that can be very helpful for brioche in general. I have a whole series of videos with the whiteboards and all that kind of stuff that I did a while back. These videos are meant to assist with the Brioche Bandana Cowl Knit-a-Long that we're doing. Lavanya Patricella has them in 3 different weights. I made one in fingering weight. I am currently working on my one in bulky weight. And I've done enough rows here that I'm about to start the section where we are knitting flat. And what I mean by knitting flat is that we're turning the work around. So the top of this was knit in the round. And so each color only had one task. That was the fun part about, yeah, this is just gonna be an issue today. It's gonna be fun. That was the fun part about knitting the top of this. Is it's a great way to learn brioche because each color only has one task. On this, the green was knitting and the rust color was purling. We are reaching the point where we're going to make the point of this, the bottom part of this. And there are a couple of videos I'm going to make, maybe 3 in total. And one is about what to do when you're not going in a circle anymore and you have to start working on the inside of this. That's going to change the tasks depending on what side we're on. That's today's video. And then I'm also going to do a couple of videos on the decreases that are used to make the point. You can see things are leading into the sides on either side here. This video is on just how to start working flat and recognize what you're doing where. Things to keep you on track. So let's get to it. All right, I have done my setup rows, which are at the bottom of the page when you're following the pattern for what we had been doing for in the round, and involved just binding off 1 stitch following her instructions with our color A. So far, we've been going in a circle, and the green was always our knit and the brown was always our purl. But now we're going to start going back and forth, which means turning it around. Now, when we're turning it around on these small circulars, it can feel really weird at first, but we don't need the beginning of round stitch marker because we're not going to go in a circle anymore. We want to turn it around and start going back. Now, this is often easier when you're on flat needles or when you can space it out. But right now, we still feel like we're going in a circle. Except when you go in a circle, when you knit in the round, your yarn is always over on this right needle. Right now we're turning around, and I'm going to pull this other yarn in front just to see what's going on. And we're going to knit back on ourselves. Here's one of the biggest hints I can give you for when we're knitting flat. When we're knitting in the round, you could see what color the knit was because it had those ridges of V's. The really prominent V columns were in the green, so that was our knit color. When we turn around to knit the other way, if you want to even flip this inside out to help you see, to have this on the outside, the rust is now making the ridges. So when this side is facing me, the rolls change. The rust color is going to be my knit color, and my green is going to be my purl color. Now, if just following the instructions in the pattern, this should also be clear, but if your brain gets a little confused on where you are, the color of the V's facing you is the color you are knitting with. So as she continues with the knitting flat instructions, she's always going to have you use the colors in the same order. You're always going to start with color B and then do color A for your 2 passes. Just hang on to that for a second. Again, remember, you're done with a row when you've worked both colors. Now, when we were going in a circle, we just kept going in a circle. Now we're only going to turn once we've done both colors, and I'll show you what that means in a second. At the beginning of this, it will feel kind of weird because the ends are so close to each other, especially if you're on a 16-inch needle, circular needle. But let's see what they're telling us to do. Now remember, color B is the green here. It is not the rust color. The color you cast on with in the beginning is your color A. Starting with row 18, that's for the bulky one. If you're doing this with a different thickness, it's a different row number. But starting with this first row of working flat, we're starting with color B, which is my green, which is not my knit color. And in fact, this row is not telling me to knit. It's saying with yarn in front, so let's get both of these up here. It's going to make this front edge a little bit funky in that our color is going to cross over, but this is the inside, so it's not as important. With yarn in front, it says slip one. This is going to get things set up where they need to be, and then things are going to be a little straighter. I'm going to leave both my yarns in front just to see if this is going to help. It's because we want a nice edge on the other side. So this is going to cross over here, but that's okay. With yarn in front, slip one, which is your other color, your single of the other color. This still follows the rules of brioche. Brioche purl, burp, then slip one, yarn over. This is going to follow the regular rules of brioche from here on out. It just might feel funny because it's not the color you've been brioche purling with this whole time, but that's what you need to do on this side. Brioche purl. We're still following those rules though of you're slipping one of the other color, wrap, brioche purl. We're going to do this all the way across, slip, wrap, brioche purl. I know it might feel weird, slip, wrap, brioche purl, because the whole rest of this cowl you've been doing this with the other color, but you want to purl with the opposite color than these ridges you see. If you follow the instructions, it will come out right, but these are other ways to make sure you're on track. Slip one of your other color, wrap it, brioche purl, the stitch and it's wrapped together, and the brioche purl should be 2 different colors. It's just opposite day when you're on the inside in terms of which colors you're using. So go ahead and finish this row of brioche purl, slip, wrap. Remember, all the rules of brioche apply. You're just flipping colors. Brioche purl, slip, wrap. Brioche purl, the stitch of the same color as what you're holding, and a wrap of the opposite color. Slip the single stitch of the opposite color, wrap. Brioche purl, slip, wrap. I'm going to finish this row. Yes, the yarns get tangled back there. Untangle them anytime you need to. I'm going to finish this row. It's important to pay attention when we have this many stitches that you don't just blast through the end of the row. I know I'm going very fast right now, but I'm still doing the repeat of brioche purl. There's my kitty. Slip, wrap. Brioche purl, the stitch and it's wrapped together. Katie, that's not helping right now. Okay. Slip the other stitch, the stitch of the other color, wrap. Brioche purl, slip, wrap. You still want to be able to see those columns of V's without your yarn crossing over. Your yarn's crossing up over the needle. Brioche purl, slip, wrap. Cat's going to try to hang out here. If he doesn't bite me, I'm going to let him. Okay, I'm coming up on the end here. Pay attention to where your yarn is. Don't go past this end of row here. They're close to each other because we haven't decreased yet. Still right here. Pay attention to this gap here, okay? I got my wrap, brioche purl, slip, wrap. It says go to the last 2 stitches, brioche purl, and then it just says with yarn in front, slip. This is where these yarns may look like they are close together, that they will get further apart as we keep going in the cowl. They may look like they're close together, but this is the end of the row and this is the beginning. Brioching flat when the yarns are not together, you're not done. You're not going to turn around yet. They're not together. Even though they're close to each other, because of how this cowl works, this is the beginning of the row, this is the end. We need to start again with this side. And normally with brioching flat, you would have to push it all up again, slide it to the other end of the needle. It's kind of right there. It's pretty cool. So the second half of row 18 with color A, if you need to, push this down to make it feel like it's not up near the tip of your needle. So you've got your full needle and your empty one. We want to knit this first stitch. So let's bring our yarn to the back, yarn of color A to the back. These edge stitches won't fit the brioche pattern, but they're edging. Knit 1, and then it's got that SL1YO, but remember, anytime you slip, your yarn needs to be in front. So bring your yarn to the front. I almost think about this as already a yarn over. Slip, brioche knit. Yarn over, slip. I reverse these so it makes more sense. Brioche knit. Yarn over, slip, brioche knit is how I like to think about the brioche knit row. Now, your colors should still stack if you're doing this correctly. Remember, we have the rust color is our knit color on the inside. So again, if your brain is like, no, it's supposed to be purling, it's not when we're going flat. Whatever color has the V's facing is the one we knit with. So this row is the same as what you have been doing this whole time, except the colors have flipped because we're on the inside. We go yarn over, we slip a single stitch of the other color, and we brioche knit a stitch of the same color we're holding and a wrap of the other color together. Yarn over, slip, brioche knit. Yarn over, slip, brioche knit. And remember, if you're a continental knitter, that yarn over can really help. Yarn over, slip, brioche knit. Yarn over, slip, brioche knit. The yarn needs to be in front before you slip, but for a continental knitter, bring it to the front and let it rest over the needle to help assist you with getting the stitch done. Yarn over, slip. Remember that single stitch might want to tuck under the stitch in its wrap. Again, I am a more fluid English style knitter. So I am going to finish up this row. Yarn over, slip, brioche knit, yarn over, slip, brioche knit. I know I'm going fast, but I'd like to get y'all to what we do next. Yarn over, slip. Remember, brioche knit. I flip the language because the same language is used on both sides, but the slip, your yarn needs to be in front before you slip. That means on the brioche knit side, you need to bring the yarn to the front first, and then the yarn over happens when you go to knit. The yarn over needs to nestle over the slip stitch, so bring it to the front, slip, brioche knit. I'm getting there. Here's my yarn, my other yarn, to show that I'm getting close. Keep the mantra going. Yarn over or wrap, slip, brioche knit, bark. Wrap, slip, bark. Don't mind my cat being noisy over there. We're going to do this to the last 2 stitches. I'm almost there. Yarn over, slip, brioche knit. Yarn over, slip, brioche knit. I'm at the last 2 stitches. It says slip 1, yarn over, knit. Remember, you got to be in the front to slip. So I yarn over first, slip, and then we just knit this last one. Now the yarns, I know they might be on different sides of the needle, but they're at the same end. We don't have 1 yarn over here and 1 yarn over here. When the yarns are together, it's time to turn. So that is the most important thing. And then if it helps, flip it inside out. If you can do it with it inside, if you can do it without flipping, but the flipping it inside out, or right side out in this case, might help you keep track of what color your V's are. So the 2 things I'll reiterate for when you're doing brioche flat. One is whatever side, the side that's facing you that you're knitting on, the V's running down, the color of the V's running down is the color that is knitting, and the other color is purling. So on this side, the green will be knitting, and the rust will be purling. When this side is facing me, the rust will be knitting, and the green will be purling. Follow the instructions. Instructions will usually always start with one color and then the other. Not necessarily the knit color, then the purl color, but always the same color. This side that's facing us now, for the next row, it's going to start with color B, which is my green, which is my knit color on this side. But on this side, we do a decrease round. And that is going to be my next series of videos, is how to do a decrease here and here. So we start decreasing the number of stitches and getting our triangular point. This video is just about how to start getting set up on knitting brioche flat. I know this looks like in the round, but we're starting to turn the work around every time we get to this gap. So again, the 2 things to remember are the rolls change depending on what side is facing you. The V's you see making columns down it, that's the color that's knitting, and the other color is purling. So that changes depending on what side is facing you. The other thing to remember is you are done when your yarns are together. You will turn around when these yarns are at the same end. If they are not at the same end, it's time to push the work back to the beginning of the row and start your pass with the other color. If the yarns are on different needles, you push. If the yarns are on the same needle, same end, you turn. That may only make some sense right now. The next couple of videos that we do about decreases, maybe I'll make another video that is again refreshing us on pushing versus turning. I will try to bring that up in the next couple of videos. So thanks for joining me for this video on getting started knitting flat. Again, this might look like it is still knitting in the round, but we have a gap here and we're going to start going back and forth. The next thing to do on this is going to be the decreases, a right leaning and left leaning decrease. That is only done when the green side of V's is facing us. And that will be, I'll make a couple of videos, one on each, and we'll try to get them out, if not today, sometime this week. I will keep working on that. My cat has been mouse hunting today, so he's a little on edge, so he's been visiting more than usual. I hope he wasn't too much of a distraction. He was a little bit of a distraction for me. But we'll get these videos out as we can. Those who are local, we are halfway through our classes on this. I hope these videos assist you. Thank you for joining and watching. At the very least, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing or giving this a thumbs up or writing a comment or a question below. All of that helps us out. If you'd like to help us in a monetary fashion, which is not required but always appreciated, there are memberships here on the channel. There are also super thanks, which is like giving a tip on a video, giving a little monetary tip on a video rather than subscribing month to month. We also have patreon.com/sundragon where you can sign up and for a monthly subscription, and after 3 months get some swag, and there's different levels with different swag. So check that out if you're interested in that. And as always, I just appreciate you watching and contributing and asking things that I can hopefully address in the future. And as I always like to say, may your crafting be filled with joy and confidence. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.